Welcome to my bike journey on the Great Allegheny Passage and the C&O Trail. Follow along with me as I make my way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C. Today on day 5, we travel from Cumberland to Little Orleans, Maryland. We'll ride about 45 miles on our first day on the C&O Trail. The trail is mostly flat as we head towards D.C. I'll cover the day's journey as well as a few interesting points along this very remote stretch of the trail, including the Paw Paw Tunnel. Good morning, day 5 in Cumberland, Maryland, getting ready to go for the day. It was nice staying at a regular hotel instead of a bed and breakfast. Things like power at the desktop, food and breakfast and coffee when you want it, and also a laundry, which was real nice to get that done last night. So here we go. We're gonna do day 5. Okay, just leaving Cumberland, Maryland, the Fairfield Inn and Suites, on my way to Little Orleans today, about 45 miles away. The weather has just changed drastically. It's actually just very nice. It rained all night. It was, the front came through, and the temperature is just perfect. One concern a little bit is the mud. I've been warned that this section of the trail in particular gets very muddy, so it should be muddy. I actually put some rain boots on, and so at least to protect my shoes. Everything else can get muddy and I can just hose off. But other than that, we're heading out and give you an update in a minute. So I've been told this is the most remote part of the journey. In fact, was told to make sure you stock up on food and water before you left, because there's really no place to get lunch or anything else between here and Little Orleans. So got lots of water, snacks, and I should be set for the day. So the instructions for today call for riding about 42 miles to find a trailhead, exit the trailhead near Little Orleans, and find Bill's Place, which I guess is the only bar restaurant around. And while at Bill's eating, call Dave at the Town Hill B&B, and he'll come down with a shuttle to take me about 1,200 foot up in elevation to get to the hotel. But mind you, he only does this between 4 and 6 o'clock. So trying to time the arrival so that I'm a little bit of a later arrival for me. So the trail is a little mushy in spots. Lots of spots with standing water and mud. Seems to be, you know, a way around most of it without having to headlong go through the mud, but so far not too bad. So 8 miles in this morning, just want to give an example of a pretty typical mud hole. As you see, going through the center, carry some speed maybe you get through, but it's pretty mushy. You do have a way around on the right hand side, but you always got to be careful because there's a drop off, you know, it's maybe 3 foot wide there. And then over here by the tree, kind of too close to the tree, is a dry spot as well. So this is probably a place that I would head towards the right. Stopped at Lock 75 this morning. As you can see, the wood gates are still in place. And look at the elevation change that occurred here. So the canal boat would enter either end, and they would either raise or lower the water, and it would continue on down the canal. We're about 16 miles in this morning, and this is a pretty good example of how the trail looks. So you stay on your toes and you kind of go through the mud when you can, or around the mud when you can, such as right here. I found pretty much just going through it instead of messing with going around it. You gotta be a little careful because if the water's deep or if there's a rut or a tree root, could knock you off, but for the most part it's been pretty easy. I actually kind of like it. It's a little bit more engaged bicycling, and it's been fun. So just stopped to take a breather at Lock 70, similar to the lock we visited earlier. Just amazed how good a shape they're still in. And an example of a lock house right by Lock 70. About halfway through our journey today, and I've stopped at the Town Creek Hiker Biker campsite just for a little rest and have a snack. You can see the mud on the bike. I mean, it's not horrible. I am glad that I did the shoe covers, however, because my feet are pretty full of mud. So just about 26 miles in, and just wanted to give you an idea of how remote it is out here. The river's off to my right, the canal's off to my left. I have not seen another person on the trail today other than a hiker that was camping in one of the campgrounds. So here is Paw Paw Tunnel. So the canal actually goes through the mountain here. It's about a 3,000 foot long tunnel, and there's the bike path on the right hand side and the canal on the left. So we're going to do that in just a couple minutes here. So back to the Paw Paw Tunnel, you can see the path is rather uneven. I'm gonna walk my bike for a minute because it's hard to tell kind of how tall these bumps are. So construction started in 1836, and they thought it was gonna take 2 years, but it wasn't completed till 1850. They found they were digging through shale, and it was just much more difficult than they thought. But they got through, and pretty amazing that you think. So just stop for a minute, almost out of the tunnel, and shine my light over on the wall over there, so you can see the guardrail and the brick lined wall down where the canal is. There are places where water's coming through, but I guess that could be expected. So we're outside the tunnel now. It seems like a little bit of a gathering place for people going either way. What's pretty amazing is not only did they build the tunnel, but they blasted through this section instead of building the tunnel. So this was all part of that work. 34 miles in this morning, and the trail did get a lot muddier on this side of the Paw Paw. So this is kind of some of the stuff I'm faced with. This one I'm actually going to bike around because I don't see any good way to ride around, so I'm gonna walk this. So a little bit muddier coming up that portion of the trail, so we're getting quite the mud bath here. It'll be nice to get a hose on it. Met up with these two nice gentlemen. One's from Pennsylvania, one's from Florida, and quite honestly, had they not happened by, I might have had a hard time getting my bike over that tree, or else I would have had to take it apart. Okay, 41 miles in, about 3 miles to go or so, and it's muddy, as you can tell. But once again, it's not that bad. It's just that it makes for a little bit of a slow go, and you gotta be a little careful. Some of the puddles are deep with ruts and potholes, and all of a sudden you think you're going through a shallow piece of water, and you're rather deep in the water. But all in all, it's been a good day. It's been a very fun day. Okay, well, I found Bill's place. I don't think it's open today, so I'm gonna have to call for the shuttle to get up to the bed and breakfast. So this is Bill's place. As you can tell from the bike, It did get a little more muddy the further we went, so hopefully I have a hose up at the bed and breakfast. I can just get everything done. You can tell I'm pretty much a mess myself, so here's my shuttle service up to the B&B this evening. So this is turning out to be quite the adventure. So he drops me off at a sort of a gas station slash diner, and I ordered some food. He's gassing up. I'm going to grab a beer, I think, as well, and then we'll head off to the bed and breakfast because they don't have dinner there. And I got to tell you, we are out in the middle of nowhere. So this is the Town Hill Bed and Breakfast. I've arrived. Beautiful spot, just way at the top of a mountain, and I'll go over and get a shot of that for you and let you know. This is where I'm going to start getting the mud off my bike. He called it the Hillbilly Laundry, so you can get cleaned up out here before you go in. So that's what I'm gonna do.